Okay. Um, I will continuously ensure that before the day comes, I can speak. I say all I need to say. I'm what you call a target individual, a TI. As a target individual, there is continuous and consistent manipulations. And even me speaking right now, there was something that just happened that was manipulated. Uh, and I understand I'm a human subject in a program where they're improving a technology that is extremely sophisticated and advanced. And you've heard a lot of target individual. And in all the testimonial, you're gonna hear things that you can't even believe is true. It's very science fiction, and those things are very consistent. We target individuals all experience very similar torments and manipulations that are very consistent. And you'll hear that. I mean, for me, I've noticed what the you hear like perps, people around you trying to make you accept a, a, a persona, or try to make you accept this manipulation as if it's happening to you organically. Um, you hear some version of that where people honk, people say things, repetitions, scripts are utilized to try to make somebody be acceptive of these manipulations. Like I said, those are manipulations, and they are trying to gaslight you. Once they manipulate you into accepting whatever you experience as if it's natural. For me, I made it clear that I'm never gonna subscribe to any of this manipulation. I know it's you guys manipulating me. I know it's this technology manipulating me, I should say. As you can see, this is not a word. That's not what I was trying to say. I was trying to say this is this program manipulating me. And then they send these bottom feeders who are supposed to make me acceptive, or not even send them via V2K. They start going through their reputations. They say whatever disorienting. There's three things they always do: they distort, disorient, and deceive. Once they start manipulating me, they try to disorient me when I try to put things in perspective. For example, right now, I just heard somebody who tried to disorient me by saying how I'm gonna scream. This is via V2K. The reason why this person is saying that now is to disorient me as I'm saying the things that they do to me, the manipulations. This is pure, obvious tactics to try to change somebody into accepting something he or she knows is falsified. And so that's what they do continuously. And they try to create a psyop of all sorts. Now, I'm not saying I'm not going to be screaming, because I do think that there will be a theatrical of a torture, meaning that they will torture me to create a theatrical reality, because a lot of the people involved in this program have tried to maintain this psyop, and I've humiliated them, not directly, but because of these very systematic ways they torture people. You hear the same testimonials from others, and you hear that others experience the same thing. While these perps using V2K try to use different tonality of trying to convince me that it's so obvious, it's you. They are, right? But in 2 seconds, I can bring somebody who says the same exact thing. And so these humiliations of the reality is what's gonna push these people to create a theatrical of torture. Because it's just so systematic. One woman said it's very surreal when you hear somebody say the exact same things that you're experiencing. And you have these bottom feeders who are clearly contracted by these governmental entities trying to get you to accept these things. And these perps know that there's not even an ounce of doubt that I know this is manipulated. There is not even an ounce of it. I do not have a single doubt that this is the result. The reason why I'm experiencing these things is because my brain is manipulated this way. They thought I was gonna somehow be subscriptive or acceptive of these things. even but I see some of these perps when I get a chance to see them. They literally look like what they're involved in. You see the fraudulency. You see who they are, and you see how they try to make you subscribe to this. And the disorienting and distortion of reality is non-stop, and the deceptions is something else. So when I make these videos, and they just make me experience something, they make me like what now what's happening most of the time, they bring up a moment where they make me experience something. The most disgusting part is I've been around, my coworkers, my colleagues, my superiors. I was not contracted, I was employed by this corporation, not really a corporation, but this organization. And they made it clear early on that they're going to be involved in my targeting. But the most disturbing part is how they were trying to break me down. There's this like senior level person at my job who was so quick. It's so disturbing. She had her little like 6-year-old girl, something like that, a baby, and she put her on camera, which of course there's nothing wrong with that, but it is wrong when when perps are bringing their children, in this case is a senior person, for the sole purpose for the target individual to be manipulated to experience some disgusting reaction to that child. They have this pedophilia type of tormenting that is so disgusting. And it's not just me, and others have spoke about it. Now, in my brain, they can make me experience these things in so many fashions. They can make me feel like you experienced that when you were a kid. When you were a kid, you felt that, and they give me a weird sensation and stimulation that they've been creating and manipulating, and try to make me think that this is something I experienced when I was a child. I know it's falsified, it's disgusting, but it's what they make me experience. And so, it's falsified. Whatever ways they try to be like, and they try to make that feeling to be something familiar that you felt at some point in your childhood, and try to make you be subscriptive to it today. There's a lot of manipulations. But that without them doing this to me, I would never experience these things. So they are truly manipulating me to experience this. And this mother of this child, this baby, is wanting to get this reaction out of me via this technology that can manipulate you to experience these things. That's a mother. But that's not only mothers, fathers do the same. They are foul human trash. And they are trying to do everything to disorient reality. Disorient me as I'm saying that. It's okay. At the end of the day, I see things for truly what they are. You have to accept reality and not even fall for this psyop, right? You see these bottom feeders, you see the trash that they are, you understand. For me, they don't use the creme de la creme, at least. Like, the perps are just really just the saddest human beings ever. And it's not stop with me. You see fathers trying to show their babies. It's so nasty. It's so nasty. It's just nasty after nasty. And the feeling and the sensation. And in my mind, they try to create battles where it's battles there's no real battles. It's them just playing back and forth. They try to seesaw you in your mind, have this back and forth just to fatigue you, to drain you, where they try to make you experience how you will experience it normally, and then go back to how they manipulate you to experience it. Do this back and forth. I can never be me. I've not been myself. I've not been thinking the way I would think since August 19, 2019. Ever since then, I've never been the same. It's been continuously manipulations and changes of how I perceive things. It's so disturbing. And it's just foul. But for me, I've been very vocal that I'm not identifying with these manipulations. I understand you manipulate me to experience these things. And the reality has been very humiliating for these people. Because the testimonials are one aspect, which is huge. The testimonials were just eye-opener. At that point, you know that everything they do to you is not only done to you, but there's a system, a protocol. They do the pedophilia type of torture. They make you experience pedophilia perceptions, reaction, stimulations, and even memories are manipulated. It's so systematic that almost all target individuals get some kind of pedophilia type of torment at some level. So it's done systematically. It's not even just like every once in a while. It's done systematically. They do this to many of us target individuals, especially with the V2K. It is nasty. So to all my target individuals, if you don't have V2K cranked up in you yet, find yourself lucky, because if that comes in, the likelihood that you're going to get some kind of pedophilia type of tormenting is going to be high, at a high percentage. Is a lot of us getting experience like that, of some level. It's so disturbing. But to add cherries onto this obviousness is those entities who are actually running this program. We all know at the end of the day that target individual, what you see is not really reality. These people are what you call a psyop. They present themselves in certain ways. They are, but you look at them, it's like, obviously you guys are not the people in charge of this. You guys obviously are not running this program. You guys obviously are not the people funding this program. There's obviously governmental entities linked to the Department of Defense involved in this. This technology is not coming from this apartment where there's a 14-year-old interacting with you via V2K. It's obvious that it's a government entity running this program. It's obvious this bottom feeders here telling me that it's their world, is not them in charge of these things. They are participants, they're involved in it, but they are not running it. Who is running it is obviously the intelligence community, which happen to have a problem with pedophilia. These entities filled with pedophiles come up with this protocol of manipulating and technology, contract these bottom feeders, empower them to do what they're supposed to be doing for this program, and they are trash bottom feeders who are trying to block out the reality that the same entities contracting them are the entities filled with pedophiles. And so their job as these perps contracted by these governmental entities are trying to get you to accept the manipulation that this technology coming from entities filled with pedophiles are creating and developing. These perps are supposed to implement that onto us target individuals as the subject to develop this technology. Now, I'm definitely simplifying a little bit more, but I'm sure this is much more complex than that. But this is the concept. And so you are, everywhere you go, there's a bunch of people, and this is a global network. It's massive. It's around the world. Everywhere you go, you have people that interacts with you in order to make you accept something that's falsified. I was in the train yesterday. There was a mother or somebody who was talking with children. They were having false conversation, right? They were like having this like conversations. I know it was just creating conversation. They wanted to get my attention. I go in the train, I look away. I don't want to look at these babies because they're going to do these nasty things to me. They're going to manipulate me. So when these kids, I'm like, they try to do something. They dry my mouth every time I talk about it. It's so nasty. So they can do some disturbing things. But this two women talking. I know there's a child in there. And I'm listening to, the nasty part is they also torture children, right? Subjects come in all ages and all gender. This is a program that is developing a technology that is machine learning. What it means is, in order to improve this technology, in order to continuously growth and the learning sample, you need to be involving all kind of people as subjects. So that means children are actually being tortured, right? These bottom feeders involved in this program will torture women and will torture children. Some of them have already, and they sexually torture children. There's testimonials of that, and there's a lot of people talking about it. But it's not only sexual. I specifically bring the sexual aspect of it because as they try to make you think in these pedophilia ways, they actually torture children sexually. When they tell you, because for me, they're like, you molesting, you molest, or some shit, something like that, excuse my language. When in reality, they're the one who use this technology to molest children. Sexual torture toward children. And not only sexual, I'm bringing that up for that specific, but also other suffocations and burning and teeth decaying and blinding and things like that toward children as young as 3 weeks old. Now, this is the reality. They hate that this reality, but with me, what they like to do is remember what you did as a child. There's a thing